click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnnieMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.annie-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@annie-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923, AnnieMac Home Mortgage, an equal housing lender, American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnnieMac Home Mortgage, LoFi Direct, Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number, ML 338923, Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number, MC 338923, Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and the All-Star Game was last night, and for the first time in All-Star Game history, we had a crazy end to it with a swing-off. It looked like the National League was going to blow them out. They were up 6-0, and the American League, Rucker hit the 3-run homer. The American League ties the game on Steven Kwan's infield single, and then you had a swing-off at the end. Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs. Then the American League could not get a home run there. So the game ended, and the NL, it's a weird score, 6-6, with the NL winning 4-3 in like a home run derby. So kind of like an international soccer score there. Weird score of the game, but takeaways from All-Star Weekend. First, Cal Raleigh continues to have his great season, his historic season, leading the league in home runs, and then winning the home run derby. And then last night in the All-Star Game, Pete Alonso, huge hit, should have been the MVP. That was ridiculous. I mean, the fact Schwarber was the MVP was absurd to me. But Pete Alonso wins the MVP of the All-Star Game. Unfortunately, the All-Star Game's really lost its luster, especially since it doesn't mean really anything anymore. But, you know, for me, All-Star Weekend, pretty good All-Star Game, historic ending to it, and then Cal Raleigh continuing his historic season.
Yeah, Raleigh impressed there on Monday night in the home run derby, and last night's game, yeah, it felt like a blowout. And then kind of the national fans, you know, all get their baseball fans get to see Aaron Boone mismanage a game in an All-Star game. You know, which is nothing new to us Yankees fans. Yeah, I kind of like the swing off. I think that should be something. It felt like a shootout in hockey. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing that take place like extra inning games or something after, you know, if nothing happens at the 10th inning, they're still tied, have a swing off. I think that'd make it pretty interesting. I don't know, that's just me. So that was pretty cool. I was surprised the American League came all the way back down 6-0. You don't really see many comebacks like that in the All-Star Game. But yeah, the home run derby's good. I wish they would go back to actual like the 10 outs instead of, because you never because the way the camera angle is and all that, it's like it's so hard to kind of, I don't love it. So I wish they go back to outs where you get to watch it before another pitch is thrown and all that. But yeah, you know, I thought it was good. The home run derby, you know, the final was pretty good too. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good couple of days for Major League Baseball.
It was a good couple of days. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the home run derby with Raleigh winning it, and I enjoyed the All-Star Game last night. Now, I don't think they should have this home run derby thing in any game. I mean, I think the way they do extra innings now, I like the way they do extra innings with the runner on second base. I like it. I think they solved their issue with extra innings, putting the runner on second base. I think they solved their issue there, so I like it. But I do like the swing off in the All-Star Game because there's no way you should be playing extra innings in an All-Star Game and risking someone getting hurt.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd like it for a regular season. Well, you know, one, because the Yankees can't win an extra inning game.
Okay, yeah, we know because they can't move runners over.
Yeah, that's why, you know, like it makes it, I don't know, it feels like a shootout in hockey. Like, it is an exciting few minutes where, you know, you have a couple of your big sluggers, like, you know, a Judge maybe going up against a, you know, maybe one time they're playing Dodgers and that, and it comes down to Judge versus Ohtani. That'd be huge. So I don't know. I you know, I get it. Maybe it never happens, but I think it'd be a pretty cool idea if Major League Baseball tried to maybe do that for regular season games. But yeah, the extra inning rule I guess isn't horrible now, but it's better than it was. But yeah, pretty solid day loss for Major League Baseball there.
It was. I think overall, I think overall it was a good All Star weekend. I really think it was a good. I think it was a good All Star weekend overall. I really do. I think it was successful. I think it was successful for them. Now we'll get into because we're kind of at the middle. We're a little past the midway point of the season. But because we're at the All Star break. Usually we talk baseball. We've talked a lot of Yankees, Red Sox. We really haven't. As we usually do. We haven't talked really about the entire league for most of the season. Now, outside of opening day, we really haven't talked about the entire league, and so we'll do a little bit more of that. We'll do a little bit more of that today, and we'll start with the midseason awards. And for me, we'll start with the Cy Young. And really, the question is: are Skeens and Skubal clear favorites to win the Cy Young? The two starters and they were the two starters last night at the All-Star game. Are they the clear favorites to win the Cy Young? And I would say no. I think there's some competition. I think you got Max Fried, you got Garrett Crochet, and you got Jacob deGrom in the American League. Then over the National League, I think you got Matt Boyd, and you got Zach Wheeler. So I think they both should win the Cy Youngs in the respective leagues, but I don't think they're the clear favorites.
No, I don't think they are either. Skubal's been awesome. Crochet still leading the league in strikeouts, I believe. Max Fried's been pretty good as well. But yeah, like right now, if I had to choose somebody, I think Skubal would still get it. He just commands the zone so well. He goes pretty deep into games. He tax hitters, and the Tigers. He's the ace of the Tigers, and right now they're on top of the American League. So, and then on the other side, yeah, I think I'd probably have Wheeler a little bit ahead of Skeens right now. The problem with Skeens is how many wins he's gonna have. I know wins don't mean anything, but the guy hasn't won a game since May, even though his ERA is 1.20 since then. So like it's not really his fault, but is he gonna go like 5-15 or something? Like
all right. Here's the thing. You and Joe with your wins, okay? You and Joe with your wins. Here's my thing. How do you win games when your team is absolutely terrible? How does he have control of that? How does he have any control of winning or losing games? How does Paul Skeens have any control of that? He's showing you that right now in baseball, win-loss record is meaningless. I'm sorry, it is.
Oh yeah, like I'm saying, like I'm talking more of like the voters. Do they not vote him because he only has 6 wins? That's what I'm saying.
And that's a good point because you get these old voters that are going to go off the win-loss record, which is total BS because the guy, if you watch him pitch, he's clearly the best pitcher in the National League. Dave Roberts knew that, and that's why he was starting the All-Star game last night. He's clearly the best pitcher in the NL. I don't care what his record is. I don't care. If you put Zach Wheeler on the Dodgers, he'd have like 10, 11 wins. He'd have at least 10 or 11 wins right now. So, listen, I don't think it's clear cut because I don't think it's clear cut, but I do think Skeens and Skubal should win the Cy Young in both leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately for Skeens, they lost one of their better averages today, Adam Frazier. So this offense ain't getting much better. Unfortunately for him. So the run sport's still gonna come at a 1 or 2 runs a night probably. But yeah, Zach Wheeler's having a really good year. Yeah, you mentioned his whip is just a little bit lower than Skeens. I think Wheels is like a 0.86 and Skeens a 0.92. So both of them are like right there. And I wonder too if Zach might get the couple deciding votes if the Phillies are like the 1 seed headed in, and he's got like 15, 16 wins. So, and I'm not, and maybe Skeens have been a little bit better, but I just think maybe the wins come back to haunt him, and that's not really his fault. And we saw that with times with deGrom a couple years with the Mets where they got him 1-2 runs, and his record was he'd only have like 8-9 wins. So we'll see. But yeah, both those guys have been really, really good. I would put both of them like kind of neck and neck right now with the Cy Young.
Yeah, I mean, and you talked about it with deGrom. That's a good point. There are going to be older voters out there, and I said it, that are not going to vote for Skeens because of his 4-8 record, which is ridiculous. But that is just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, it's unfortunate. Why Major League Baseball really. I know salary cap will never come, but this is why they need to at least have a floor so that some of these teams, like the Pirates, spend some money because you are wasting a generational talent right now, Paul Skeens, and and it's an issue, and that's why some of these smart teams kind of struggle. They get like fans because they don't try to win, you know. But yeah, so it's we're one of the problem with baseball. But yeah, it's think to see that if it will come down to that, and yeah, he only has 7, 8 wins, and voters decide to go Zach Wheeler instead of him. But um, be tough to see. But yeah, I think he's got enough media coverage too, which is going to help him, I think, too. So, but yeah, it'll be tough, and that's kind of the problem with Major Baseball is the Pirates just aren't going to help try to build something around him because they haven't signed anybody from a free agency standpoint more than like 1 year contracts. It's like 2016, I think it is. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. The Pirates, yeah, that ownership group is just not trying to win. And to your point about Zach Wheeler, I checked the odds for Cy Young while you were talking. Zach Wheeler is the favorite right now, and Scooble is the favorite in the American League, but Zach Wheeler is the favorite in the National League to win the Cy Young.
Okay, so yeah, so I wonder. So that's usually me. Yeah, some of the voters are gonna, Vegas thinks the votes are gonna go with Wheeler. Maybe that's with the Phillies record. With Zach Wheeler probably gonna put up a bunch more wins, and don't think he's gonna get 20 on the year, but maybe the 18-19 can pull him with top, and with the Phillies the way they're doing right now. Yeah, I guess I'm a little surprised that he's in front, but he's not totally shocked.
Yeah, I wouldn't be in total shock at all because of the season he's having. He's having a great year. Skeen's having a great year too. But you said win-loss record, and that's something that voters are going to look at. That's definitely something voters are going to look at, especially these older voters are going to look at.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's the way it's going to be. And again, it's probably not going to be his last chance to get his last chance to be a to win the Cy Young. He'll win many more in his career, but yeah, it's gonna frustrating, and yeah, you wonder how much longer the Pirates will even hold on to Paul Skeens because I don't know if he's somebody that's gonna get frustrated at some point if they continue to lose at the rate that they are not trying to win.
Exactly. I could definitely see him getting frustrated. But now we'll move on to before we get to MVP, we'll talk about AL and NL Rookie of the Year. We'll start with the AL, and I think it's pretty obvious when it's Jacob Wilson, guy's hitting over 332, guy's hitting over 300 for the A's. I mean, he's been really good for them so far. So I think it's a pretty obvious one with Jacob Wilson in the American League.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with him. He didn't really come on to open the year. He wasn't like that highly talked about, and he's really kind of come under the radar. Yeah, the 335 average. He's starting for the National League. For the American League at shortstop, and I know the A's stink, but they got a good kind of young. They're building a little bit.
They are Rooker,
Butler,
especially in the lineup. They need the bullpen in rotation or a disaster. Yeah. But they are building in that lineup.
Yeah, and then even Nick Kurtz, the first baseman, who I know everyone talked about last year's draft and Caglione, but Kurtz too was in that draft, and he's been really impressive at first base. So yeah, the pitching, which that's going to be a problem playing in Sacramento the next couple of years. But yeah, the offense, they got some young pieces now. It's kind of building the pitching staff right now. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Jacob Wilson's kind of got that thing pretty much in hand right now.
Yeah, and I think another guy who has the award locked up in the National League, and that's the guy that it was a controversy for him to be an all-star, but there's probably no doubt he's going to be the Rookie of the Year, and that's Jacob Misiorowski. I think having him and Peralta at the top of that rotation, that makes the Brewers a contender to win the NL Central, and probably makes them a contender in the National League, especially with the year their offense is having, the year Cheerio and Yelich are having. So I think it's pretty obvious that Jacob Misiorowski in the National League for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then you mentioned too that rotation. They just got Woodruff back as well, so you add him too. That's a really solid top three that you'd have for the postseason. So yeah, Misiorowski's been really good. The last time we saw him too he shut down that Dodgers lineup, and he was really really impressive. So and then I assume you saw that 98-mile-per-hour slider he threw last night. Like that's just good luck hitting that. So yeah, he's big, kind of tall, 6'7", just commanding presence on the mound. So yeah, through his first like 5 starts, he's been really impressive on the mound. And yeah, he I know there's some pushback from being all-star, but he proved last night going up against Berkeley that he pitched well. So yeah, I think right now it's that award's gonna belong in him, and that Brewer team right now is on fire. I'm with you. That's that. They're the Tampa Bay Rays of the National League. They just whenever you kind of think they're gonna have a down year, they kind of just surprise you and they just come out of nowhere and they're a postseason team. So they're doing a really good job. And Pat Murphy might be an upgrade over Craig Counsell. I actually think he's done a great job the last couple of years.
He's done a good job, and Mizorowski. Yeah, we thought when they lost Corbin Burns that a couple of years ago that they go downhill. Last year they made they made the playoffs and they lost to the Mets in the wild card round. But then adding Mizorowski, that's a really good 1-2 punch right there. That probably is going to eventually replace what Corbin Burns gave them.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely could. And no Peralta 2 on top there. Quint Priester too is like a one-time like top prospect. He's pitched pretty well for him too, and they've kind of found something. They got him from Boston, early this year. So yeah, like even him, he's shown some glance. So they're two just really good at just developing pitching, and then McGill's been really good at the closer. Uribe, like they're kind of setup man, 7th, 8th inning guy. He's pretty good. So yeah, the Brewers are just, they always build a really good pitching staff with the payroll that they kind of have. So and even like Jose Quintana's having like a renaissance. He's pitched pretty well for him too. So they're just like Tampa Bay. They just do a really good job at developing pitching.
Absolutely. So let's get to the MVP in both leagues. And we said this last week. I think we said we had this conversation last week about the AL MVP. And would it be Aaron Judge or would it be Cal Raleigh? Would it be one of those two guys? So, but and as we said as I said last week, and I'm going to say it again, and there's no bias here. I'm going Aaron Judge, and the reason I'm going Aaron Judge is he's got a better average than Cal. I know Cal Raleigh has more home runs and more RBI, but Aaron Judge hits for a higher average, and Aaron Judge. And I know the catcher position's an important one too. I know he's been Cal Raleigh's doing it at a very tough position to hit at. But and so it's a close race, but I'm still going to go Aaron Judge. I think the batting average is the difference, and Aaron Judge just became a really good defensive player too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with Judge. I know the catcher spot. What he's doing is really impressive. You don't see that a lot, but yeah, the way Judge is doing, playing the average. He's, I know he's had a past rally. He's only like 3 homers behind, but he's in the Triple Crown watch right now, and he was able to get that, there's no shot he's losing MVP. So he's just a dangerous hitter every time. And you mentioned that the defense has gotten better with Judge. And I know Raleigh won the Platinum last year for Gold Glove. I wasn't that impressed last week, like watching him really up closely playing the Yankees. So, I thought he was a pretty good defender going in. I was, not as impressed watching him. But so I'm with you. I think Judge right now probably is, I think Judge is going to win it. But if Riley continues to put up the numbers he does, and the Mariners come back and like win that division, the Yankees, I don't know, somehow miss out the playoffs or just squeak in. Maybe Riley passes them, but right now I'd go with Judge.
Yeah, it's going to be a close race. It's going to be a close race until the end, I think. And yeah, it's going to depend on how the teams do. So yeah, say the Mariners pass them and the Yankees continue to struggle. Yeah, I could see Riley winning, but I just think overall, I would say it's Aaron Judge, but it's really close because here's the thing: where would both these teams be without those players? I don't think either team would be in the playoffs without both those guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Yankees would be an absolute mess, and then like for the Mariners, Riley's been huge. That pitching staff is one of the better ones in the whole sport. And then their lineup the last couple of years has been so inconsistent, and they have some guys who have some pop, and you think would hit for some higher averages, and like Julio Rodriguez had a great rookie year and hasn't like taken off since. So yeah, like Riley's been like the main kind of consistency in that lineup. So yeah, and he's a huge part of why they're sticking around in that wild card right now. Because without him, they definitely be they definitely be kind of on the outside looking in for one of those wild card spots.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, both teams. Yeah, the reason both are right now in the playoffs is because of these two guys. It's because of these two guys. So yeah, they both should be by far the leading candidates. But I would just take Judge over them. Now NL MVP is interesting because you got a lot of guys. You have a lot of options. You got Shohei. You got Kroll Armstrong. You got Seiya Suzuki, who was ridiculous. He wasn't an All-Star. Everybody talks about Soto not being an All-Star. What about Seiya Suzuki? Yeah, I mean, and Soto should have been an All-Star too. But yeah, what about Seiya Suzuki? And then you got Pete Alonso too, who's had a really good year. But I'm going to go with Shohei. Because I think eventually his impact on the mound is really going to help the Dodgers, and I think he's going to still be great at the plate. And again, we've never seen anyone like this since Babe Ruth. We've never seen a player like Shohei Ohtani since Babe Ruth. If he could pitch well and hit well, we've never seen anyone like this since Babe Ruth. So he's a top 2 player in the game, right behind Aaron Judge. I think he's going to be the NL MVP again. I think he's going to win another NL MVP.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's gonna happen. The way he's looked on the mound so far, and yeah, when they start to kind of really kind of let him go, more and more, he can throw more and more pitches later on, in the year, probably, maybe in August, September, and maybe they make him the starter in the post. I think it depends how many guys that they have back, if he'll start or not in the postseason on the mound. Maybe they'll just use him as a reliever. But yeah, the way he puts up the numbers at the plate, and then with the way, then what he does on the mound, he's a unicorn. So it's you would like to go like a Pete Crow Armstrong, who's had an unbelievable year, or Pete Alonso, or say Suzuki, one of those guys. But I just think the impact that Ohtani's going to have on both sides, hitting and pitching wise, I just think the voters, like they have the last couple of years, are going to eat it up, and he's not going to lose the National League MVP.
No, I don't think so. I think Shohei Ohtani is going to be the NL MVP. And now we will get to our World Series pick. And last year, we had the Yankees and Dodgers, the 2 MVPs, Judge and Ohtani, facing off against each other. The question is, are we going to get that rematch this year in the World Series? And I'm going to say no, because I do think the Dodgers are going to return. I know they went on a 7-game losing streak, but they're still in first place in their division. They still have the best record in the National League. And so I do think, and they're getting reinforcements back too. Glasnow just came back. They're going to get Sasaki. They're going to get Sasaki, and who knows what Sasaki's going to be. They're going to get Sasaki and Snell back too. So they're going to get reinforcements back. They got a great lineup. Their bullpen is okay. It's a little bit of a weakness there, but still, I think that I know there's a lot of competition in the National League. I know the Phillies are really good. I know the Cubs are really good. I know the Brewers are starting to get really good. I know the Mets are good too. But I think ultimately the Dodgers, they're still the best team in the NL, and I think they go back to the World Series. But in the American League, I'm going to have a different team, and I'm going to have the manager that beat the Dodgers in the World Series years ago, and that's A.J. Hinch, and that's his Detroit Tigers. I got them going to the World Series in the American League because if you look at them, they're really – the bullpen is a little bit of a hole. I'll give you that. But outside of that, there really isn't any holes anywhere. Good rotation, good lineup, good manager. I know they're playing the NL Central. I get the AL Central. I get it, but still, I think they're outside of their bullpen. I think they're solid everywhere. And I think the problem with I think they're better. The thing about them, if you compare them to the Astros and the Yankees, their rotation is definitely better than the Yankees. Clearly better than the Yankees, especially with Fried, with the uncertainty of Max Fried right now with the Yankees. And then if you look at them versus the Houston Astros, I think they clearly have a better lineup than the Houston Astros. So I am going to go with the Dodgers beating the Detroit Tigers in the World Series.
So we have one team that's similar, and probably not the team you're thinking of. I have the Tigers facing off against the Cubs, and I'm going to take the Cubs to win the World Series.
Wow, that's a good pick. Good pick.
The Cubs definitely need another guy in their rotation, but I really like the lineup right now. Like what you're getting out of Carson Kelly at the catcher spot. Michael Busch has had a really good year. I know, Dansby Swanson's been pretty good. Like you can make the argument that the 3 outfielders for the Cubs, Suzuki, Pico, Armstrong, and Tucker are like the 3 best in the sport right now. Like, are 3 of the better, or the 3 is like the best kind of the 3 best in the sport right now together. When those 3 are out there, and the Dodgers have so many injuries. I know they're gonna get some of them back, but I still, I'm still a little hesitant on it. Like, how ready are those guys going to be? And I think the Tigers beat out the Astros because I do agree with you. I like the Tigers lineup a little bit better. I think they'll be aggressive the next couple of weeks. I think the Astros rotation can go right up against the Tigers, but I'll take Skubal in the big game 6-7 on the mound. And then the Yankees, I'm kind of just, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. And I'm not sure if they're going to get it all done in the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to take the Cubs over the Tigers in the World Series.
We'll get to the Yankees, but I don't think we've talked about the team that is is in first place in the AL East, and that's the Blue Jays. Do you buy the Blue Jays as a World Series contender? it's hard for me. I would say they're below, even though they swept the Yankees a couple weeks ago. I would still have them below the Tigers, Astros, and Yankees. I don't know if there's enough. They've won. The thing about them is they've won so many close games, and I don't think that's gonna show up when you get to the postseason. I just don't think it's gonna show up. Even though Springer's had a comeback year, but Chet's been good, Guerrero's been good. I just don't think winning all those. They need a little thing more depth in their rotation, their bullpen, and I just don't think winning all. I think they've been a little. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I think they've been a little bit lucky where they are. I still think they're a flawed team. That's going to need some bullpen and rotation help at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been surprised at how well they've done. They haven't, they're yeah, because you mentioned it. Like the run differential is only 17. I know a couple years ago when Arizona got there, I think they had a negative run differential. So I know that's not the be end all. But yeah, I think the Blue Jays were going up against the Yankees. I like the Blue Jays because I think they're a bad matchup for the Yankees because they can run. And you saw in that series, they're very athletic. Yeah, I'd struggle to take them because right now because of that rotation. I don't know if they could match. I know at the top they could match, but I wouldn't love them getting down to like a game 3, game 4 when you need your third or fourth rotation guys in there. I wouldn't love their matchup against Houston or Detroit. I think their lineup's pretty good. And yeah, you mentioned it too. The bullpen needs help. Like Jeff Hoffman's got an over 5 ERA right now. Like they definitely need help there. Vlad's having a pretty good year. George Springer's been awesome. And he's been a guy that's been clutch in the postseason. So I'm with you. I don't think they're totally a World Series contender, but they're usually very aggressive, that front office. So I wouldn't be shocked in 2 weeks at the trade deadline that we go, yeah, Toronto's now a World Series contender.
I agree. That could very easily happen. But now we will talk about the Yankees, a team that is 2 games behind the Blue Jays in the AL East. And right now they're at 53 and 43. 2 games behind the Blue Jays. And the recap of their first half of the season. The recap of their first half of the season is I think their offense has been a little hot and cold, but I think good for the most part. I think the Goldschmidt pickup I like. I definitely like the Bellinger pickup, that 16-game hitting streak and that 3 home run game he had on Friday. Judge has been absolutely phenomenal. Judge has been great. So I think the lineup for the most part has been good. The bullpen has been, to me, very shaky. The bullpen's been shaky. I think Devin Williams, he's been better, but he's struggled. Luke Weaver, he was good at the beginning, but then we've seen his struggle. So I think the bullpen has been shaky. And the rotation, I think, has actually been good when they've been healthy. The problem is health, and health is crushing this rotation. With Clark Schmidt getting Tommy John, obviously Garrett Cole he got hurt in spring training, and then we have Max Fried hurt now. So to me the 3 biggest needs of the deadline are a starting pitcher or another reliever, and then a third baseman because Peraza is hitting under 200 and he's going to be their starting third baseman. So, but I would say that's the third of the 3 needs. The number 1 need to me is a starting pitcher. They need to go out and get a starting pitcher because they need depth in this rotation. Number 2 is they need another arm in the bullpen. They need more depth in the bullpen because we've seen this bullpen struggle and give away games in the first half of the season. And then lastly, they need to address I feel like they need to address third base. If it's a blockbuster move and getting Suarez, or maybe a small move and getting McMahon.
Yeah, I'm with you. They definitely need another starter. They definitely need a reliever or 2, and they definitely need a third baseman. It's gonna be tough because there's a lot of needs, and and what I'm struggling with is, I get it, like prospects. I know I'm higher on prospects than you are, but Spencer Jones is killing it at AAA. He's striking out almost 40% of the time. That's an issue, but I forget how many home runs he's got down there, but he's been killing it. I don't want to trade him if we're not bringing home a World Series because Bellinger has an opt-out too.
Yeah, that's a good
after
point.
This year. He's going to opt out. You might need another outfielder next year. You could go get Kyle Tucker, but so I don't know how much they're going to give up. I don't want to give up Lombard, especially Volpe at this point too, where it's.
Oh God!
Oh, did you hear Boone?
What did he say?
Meredith pushed back about Volpe, and he got angry. And then when he walked out of the press room on Saturday, he goes, "Volpe is bleeping elite," And it's just like
It's crazy. Hold the guy accountable, please. Hold him accountable. Jesus, hold him accountable.
this organization is just it's I don't get it. But Jeter even I assume you heard his remarks about kind of saying, put some pressure on Cashman.
Yeah, make
they
some
got some
moves
work
here.
to do.
There definitely is
Yeah.
work. There is absolutely work with this
There's
roster.
work. So
They're going to at least have to do two of those three things. I think they're definitely going to have to do. They're going to have to do two of those three things. Yeah, but number one, the starter is to me the biggest priority. They need another starting pitcher. If it's a Merrill Kelly or a Zach Allen or even a Severino reunion, they need another pitcher in this rotation. They need because of the injuries in the rotation. It's not Cashman's fault the guys have gotten hurt, but like because the reality is because of all the injuries, they're going to need a starting pitcher. So they got to do two of those three things I said. They must do it, or they didn't do their job at the trade deadline.
yeah, no, they have to. I wouldn't mind another name too. Seth Lugo with the Royals. He's had another good year. He's got some postseason experience. I wouldn't mind him either. But yeah, because Max Fried too. I forgot to mention this a second ago. He's dealing with the blister right now. He's been on the IL 4 times with blisters before, so it's not very. Wouldn't be very surprised if they put him on the IL. But yeah, the starter's definitely the big one because right now you don't. I was impressed with Cam Slittler, but I I wouldn't mind seeing him in the bullpen in the postseason because they do need somebody that could throw 100 who can miss bats. So I would hope at the very least he's in the bullpen for the postseason. You're gonna need him to be a starter, but how long is that gonna take to get him warmed up to go like 5 innings every night, every fifth day? So that's the thing. So yeah, I'm with you. They really need a starter desperately, and they definitely need another bullpen arm because I'm at the point where I trust Evan Williams. I'm at the point. I'm hoping after the All-Star break, Luke Weaver's feeling better and he's 100% now, and you can go back to trusting him. I still trust Tim Hill. Other than that, right now, I don't trust anybody else. I'll trust Cruz when he comes back from the injured list, but other than that, I don't trust anybody else in that bullpen at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's really hard to trust anyone else. Yeah, outside of Hill, outside of Weaver, outside of Williams, and Williams and Weaver had their struggles.
Yeah.
It's really tough to trust anyone else. It really is. So we'll see what the Yankees do in the next couple of weeks, and they need to do something if they want to return to the World Series. But now moving on to the hottest. We thought we were going to say this when they traded Devers, the hottest team in baseball, and that's the Red Sox. And the Red Sox have been red hot. I mean, they started to pitch really well. They're hitting. How about Rafael? Rafael has taken off for them. I mean, Story, he's been good too. Bregman is now back. So the Red Sox right now are in pretty good shape right now. They're I think they got the second wild card right now at a 53-45, won 10 straight games. So the Red Sox, red hot. And for them at the trade deadline, I think what they got to do is they got to get obviously I think another starter because I like Bello, Giolito, and Crochet's, in the Cy Young running, but I think they need another starting pitcher, and I think they need another bullpen arm. Chapman's had a great year and he was an All-Star. He's had a great year. They need another bullpen arm, and also I think they need another bat. I think they need like a Josh Naylor, a first baseman, because they lost Cashes for the year. I think first base is a position they need to address because I think Robin Anthony can handle the DH role, but maybe as a rookie he might not be able to play every day. So get another bat in the lineup. So I think a Josh Naylor would make sense there for them. But I think. I know their schedule is brutal coming out of the All-Star break, with 3 with the Cubs, 3 at the Phillies, and then 3 at home to the Dodgers. But I think the way they're playing right now, they could tread some water, and they're probably still going to be in it. So I think they're going to have to buy, and they're going to this. I think with this team, they have to buy more than they ever bought because last year they kind of bought getting like Danny Jansen and a reliever, but they really didn't. This year, I think they got to buy because I think this team proved in this 10-game winning streak, especially this week against the Rays, that they have a very, very good chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Josh Naylor one. I think his swing would fit really well there. Guy's got a lot of postseason experience, so I like that one added first baseman because I know Toro and I know what they've been putting over there first hasn't been great, but they've been getting some production. But yeah, I would be interested to see if they would trade one of their young bats to go get one of the Reds' kind of young starting pitching where the Red Sox have plentiful of young talent, and the Reds need another bat, but they have a ton of young starting pitching. So I wonder if they would do a 1-for-1 there. But yeah, they definitely need another arm. They definitely could use another bullpen arm as well. And yeah, the bats like the first base ones, like the really one spot you need because Bregman's back now, and you're gonna get his production back, and because like all those young guys now, they're all stepping up and they're all playing well, and
Good
they're
point.
all
Great point there. Yeah.
like even like Rafael like a month ago was like, can you? Yeah, the defense is great, but like he's not really doing much with the bat, and he's been on fire lately. So, yeah, this Red Sox team now, you're at the point where this team Breslow has to buy again. 2 months ago, would you ever thought the Yankees and Red Sox would have the same amount of wins going in the All Star break?
No. Especially after the Devers trade, I thought the Red Sox. I thought they were done. I thought they were done after the Devers trade, but they got hot. And I wasn't totally high on them. The 6-game winning streak to Washington and then the Rockies. I'm like, all right, look at the teams they're playing. But this week proved it. And guys stepped up. It was Rafael with the walk off on Friday night. You had Garrett Crochet with the gem he threw on Saturday. So guys stepped up. So I think this weekend really proved the Red Sox are legit. They very easily could be a playoff team if they keep playing this way and make the right moves at the trade deadline.
Yeah, no, definitely because the future's bright with all the young controllable talent that they have right now. Yeah, they need another young starter there, but with the lineup, Roman Anthony, Myers, Rafaela. I know we've seen glimpses of what Tristan Campbell can be like. Right now, the early returns have looked like they've hit on all those guys. So, which is huge and which is the big part of the prospects and all that. So, it's been huge there. So, yeah, the future's bright, and Breslow has to be a buyer now because it'd be disaster. They got the money to do it. Opened up. So, yeah, it's a big kind of week coming out of the All-Star break or week and a half. So we'll see. But yeah, that's a team that's got to be buyer. I did actually last week. One name that was rumored for the Red Sox was Joe Ryan to start out of Minnesota. So I just remember that came to mind. That's a pretty solid pickup for another starter. So, but that was one guy that's been rumored to Boston. But we'll kind of see. So, yeah, Boston it's the future's bright right now.
It is, and you said it. Breslow's got to buy because the Devers thing right now is looking like addition by subtraction. It definitely is.
Yeah, it has been. I know the Giants really hasn't gone off. Haven't played as well as you thought they would since. And yeah, Boston. Maybe they're right that maybe getting his voice out there was getting kind of the attitude out of there. And I'm not not totally sure in the clubhouse, but it feels like it. It feels like maybe there was a little bit more behind the scenes there than maybe we thought was going on. So yeah, because since then they've been playing really, really well since coming back from the West Coast trip. They've played really good baseball. I think since then they've only lost like 2 games.
1 or 2 games.
Since coming back from that trip.
I think like 3 games. I think 2 to the Blue Jays. I think 1 to the Reds. That was it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So they've been playing really good baseball. When you kind of thought after that trip it was all kind of said and done, move on the next year, but that has been the case.
Yeah, especially when they got swept to the Angels, we thought, this thing's done. This thing's done, and then give the Red Sox credit for what they did with the Devers move. They saw that he was an issue in the locker room. He saw that there was a distraction, and they got a lot of crap for it that Sunday night when they made that trade because they had won 5. Let's not forget they had won 5 out of 6 against the Yankees. They had just swept the Yankees after the move, and everybody was like saying, "What the heck are we doing trading our best player?" But as of right now, it looks like it's working out.
Yeah, it has been for him. So, yeah, maybe Breslow definitely, so far for that move seems like he deserves his flowers. A month into that trade, it seems like it's panned out for him. But yeah, now you got more money for next year on the books and for the future. But yeah, it seems to kind of help the team and yeah, Breslow, yeah, because that Angels series, it kind of felt like, man, it was the season was done, and then they came back, and I think they lost the Blue Jays that Friday night.
They got
and it was
crushed.
Like, yeah,
they lost like 9-0 to the Blue Jays, but then they had that 15-1 win, and everything after that is pretty much turned around.
Yeah, and the offense has been on fire since then, and they haven't lost since July 2nd, I think, or July. So yeah, it's just been a team that's been on fire, that's playing really good baseball, and yeah, Red Sox fans have been kind of looking for this the last couple of years, and and they've boom again, just boom. Seems like all those prospects that he acquired. Seems like they've all hit pretty early on.
Yeah, listen, he kept the farm system going, even though he didn't want to pay anyone. That eventually got him fired. Yeah, I'll give him credit for the farm system. The farm system has been really good for him. But speaking of a team that did pay two of their best players, that is the Jets. And before we talk about that, we will hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All righty, Jets GM Darren Mucci has been busy the last couple of days as he signed his two best players to long-term deals with Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. And yesterday, Sauce Gardner became the highest-paid corner, 4 years, $120 million. And yes, he had a down year last year, but I feel like this is a move that had to be made because again, eventually Trent McDuffie is going to get paid by the Chiefs, and the price is just going to go up. So I think they had to lock up Sauce Gardner. I know he had a down year, but he had 2 great years before that. He was arguably one of the best corners in the game. He had 2 great years before that. Now, last year, I think some of the coaching played into it that he had a down year. But with Aaron Glenn now being his head coach, who was a corner for the Jets, I expect him to be back playing at a top 5 level. I think he's happy now that he's got his money. I like this move for the Jets. I really do. I like the fact they have now locked up. They've locked Sauce Gardner up long term.
Yeah, definitely. They've done a good job getting their cornerstone guys here with that, and now Garrett Wilson as well. But yeah, he's been one of the better cornerbacks since coming to the league, and he's the first cornerback to be ever named like the first team All Pro team, and earned the trip to the Pro Bowl, and he's been one of the better cornerbacks in the sport since coming in. So yeah, good for the Jets to lock him up, and we'll see. They're getting their big piece there defensively, and drafting's been something that they haven't been great with over the years. So to hit on 2 like they have here with him, and I know we'll get to Garrett Wilson coming up. 2 cornerstone guys that they got here for the future.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and yeah, we'll get to Garrett Wilson next in his new contract extension. I think 4 years, $130 million. So he's making I think like $32 million a year. Not the highest paid receiver, but he's making $32 million a year. And I like this move too. I just like the Jets offseason in general. They've been quiet, and they're bringing back their own guys, the 2 cornerstones of this franchise, the 2 guys they drafted high in that 2022 draft. You drafted Sauce Gardner with the number 4 overall pick. You drafted Garrett Wilson with the number 10 overall pick. So they were both, and this and Wilson was the pick they got in the Jamal Adams trade, which the Jets definitely won. The Jets, Joe Douglas didn't do a lot right when he was the GM of the Jets, but he definitely won that Jamal Adams trade. He definitely did, because this was a home. The 2022 draft class of the Jets was kind of a home run. So it was Joe Douglas's best moment. If you look at some of the players they got Breece Hall as well in that draft in the second round. So we get Breece Hall, Wilson, and Sauce Gardner, 3 really good players, and 2 stars, and then 1 really good player. So yeah, again, I like this pick with Garrett Wilson. And you've seen Garrett Wilson. I mean, he's done this with so many bad quarterbacks. I mean, started out with pretty much Zach Wilson at the start, and then Aaron Rodgers, who was an average at best last year. So he's well-deserved extension. Yes, he's not the highest paid receiver, but just a well-deserved extension for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I have a stat too to pretty much show of like how impressive kind of Garrett Wilson's been over his first 3 seasons of the league. He's one of just 5 NFL players to register at least 1,000 receiving yards and 80+ receptions each of his first 3 seasons. And that list is Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham, and Michael Thomas. And you mentioned it, all the quarterbacks that he's kind of had there have all been mediocre at best. So for what he's done with the quarterbacks that have been throwing him the football, it's been pretty impressive put up for him for the numbers that he's been able to put up. So yeah, good for him. And we'll see the Jets kind of build something around those guys now. And with the new regime that they have coming in, we'll see Justin Wilson. I mean, Justin Fields isn't the greatest quarterback either. You probably put him below average, but we'll see if Garrett can kind of continue to rack up the yards.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens with him. Now, speaking of receivers, Terry McLaurin is unhappy with his contract from Washington and is holding out a training camp. Right? He's going to be probably holding out a training camp and wants a contract extension. And if you're Adam Peters, you need to get this done. You need to get this done. This is your quarterback's best weapon here in Terry McLaurin. You need to get this done. You can't have this continue to linger on. This needs to get done within the next week or 2. Right when training, get it done right before training camp begins. Get everyone on the same page, because for the first time in years, you have a legitimate Super Bowl contender with this team. Last year, they get to the NFC Championship game. You don't want this distraction happening, especially when you got to compete with a team like the Eagles in the NFC East. So, and then you're going to have a lot of teams right now are studying Jayden Daniels, studying his tendencies, studying his weaknesses. So, if you're Adam Peters, you absolutely have to get this done. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I'm with you, because if you don't, you're going in next year. Debo's your number 1, which isn't bad, but he's been banged up a lot, and he's 29. So, and then after that, it's a mystery after him. You got Noah Brown, you got Luke McCaffrey, you got guys who aren't really established wide receivers in the league. So, I'm with you. They got to get this done. It's the momentum's finally swinging in the right direction for Washington, and you don't want to kind of turn this thing. You want this distraction to go away quickly here. You want to just get it done, because McLaurin last year had over 80 catches, over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. Like, he was a huge impact guy for Jayden Daniels, and you want to lose that, because I'm not saying he's gonna have a sophomore year slump, but like saw that last year, CJ Stroud. You take away your number 1 receiver. If you take Daniels' number 1 receiver away, maybe it's a little bit more likely. Maybe he goes into that slump this year. So obviously they don't want to see that, and they got to pay him, soon.
Oh, they got it. Yeah, they have to. This is hey, he's your best weapon. He's your best weapon. You have to. I don't care. I don't care if he is holding out everything. If you're Adam Peters, you need to make him happy. Yeah, keep this momentum going. And look at what he's stuck there. He's stuck there through the Dwayne Haskins, Taylor Heineke, even Sam Howell. He's stuck through those years. He's stuck there. Even Case Keenum at the beginning of his career, he's stuck through those years. He's been here 7 years. Last year was the first time the Commanders, I know they won the division in 2020. This was the first time the Commanders had a winning season. He's stuck there all those years. You need to take care of this player.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because he's another one. Yeah, that's a lot of footballs thrown to him in his career. I've been through mediocre quarterbacks, and he's stayed there. He's been he's been the top weapon there for a while now, and you got to get that thing done. Yeah, the direction's finally in the right direction for Washington. You got a Super Bowl contender, you got a team that can get right back to the NFC Championship game. You got a team that in battle with the Eagles. So you absolutely have to get this done. You got to sign them. Because like even if you don't, yeah, like Debo's not bad, but Debo's been a guy that's been injured throughout his career. So you lose him, maybe he goes out with an injury for a couple games, and you have McLaurin in that roster. It's gonna be pretty hard for Jaden Daniels to try to find some success there because and Zach Ertz is a good tight end, but he's getting up there in age too. So how much production you get out of him? So yeah, for Washington, you can't mess this up. You got to get this thing done. And get him signed.
Oh, yeah, without question. Without question, the Commanders need to get him signed. But before we get to SEC Media Days, we'll talk about the Chiefs quickly extending Trey Smith. Pretty obvious, especially after losing Joe Tooney. Trading Joe Tooney. Yeah, they'd like to get this done. And he's now the highest paid guard, and deservedly so, because the guy was really good last year.
Yeah, absolutely. They had to get this done. You saw the Eagles kind of explode their offensive line, so you had to keep him around to try to keep Patrick Mahomes safe back there in the pocket. So yeah, he's definitely worthy of becoming the highest paid guard in the sport right now.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So we will talk about SEC Media Days. They started this week. We'll talk a little bit about them. And have they done the poll yet? I haven't seen that they've done the media poll yet. They haven't done that yet.
That might be going away. I know the Big 12 took it away because of Arizona State last year coming to last, and they thought that was a reason why they got kind of disrespected. So I don't know if every conference is going away from it, but I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they have. We'll see if they have it or not. But we'll start with Arch Manning, and is he as good as he's hyped up to me? I feel like he's going to be. I know Texas is going to be. The last few years they've been in the college football playoff. They've been one of the favorites. They've been in the semifinals the last few years. But they lose Quinn Ewers, and now Arch Manning takes over. Is Arch Manning as good as hyped up to be? Do you think he's going to be as good as hyped up to be? I think he's going to be. I know, Heather Dinnish yesterday is the fourth best quarterback in the SEC. I might go second behind Garrett. I think he's going to end up being second behind Garrett Nussmeier.
See, I think Steve Spurrier put it pretty well last week or 2 weeks ago. He said if Arch Manning was actually so this isn't word for word, but the gist of what he said was if Arch Manning was as good as we all think he was, why couldn't he play last year over a 7th-round pick? And I kind of agree with him with that.
Ooh. Like you're kind of down on Arch Manning.
I'm not totally down. There's just so much hype with him. I don't know. Like I just haven't seen enough of him. And like if they got more consistent play out in that Ohio State semifinal game, they probably win the national championship. Was Arch Manning really not good enough to get some snaps last year with Quinn Ewers? That's where I'm kind of pausing with this. In week 1, we're going to find out a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
It's a very young offensive line.
Oh, young team playing Ohio State. I know Ohio State's lost a ton of players in their defensive coordinator, but they're still the defending national champions.
Yeah, and you're going to Ohio. You're going to the Horseshoe week 1. We're going to find out a lot week 1. If, I just don't have an answer. I really don't. Like, I want to say yes, but Spurrier I really agree with Spurrier. Like, if he was really the real deal, they see him every day in practice. Why didn't Sark give him more run last year over Ewers? Especially if you could win a national title, which they could have. That's where I just pause. Like, I don't know. I really don't. I know it's kind of taking the easy way out, but I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is with him though, I'll give him this. He was loyal though. He could for this last name, he could have definitely entered the transfer portal and gone somewhere else. But he has decided to stay, so I'll give him that.
They're giving him a very nice NL package for being a back the last couple years.
I bet they are. Yeah.
So
I bet they are.
Yeah, I think he's comfortable. Texas is throwing out the money. There was a video the other day. All the recruits like walking into the facility. There was like 5, 6. There's a couple of just sports cards, just $1 million cards just sitting out there. Right, first thing the recruits see. So
yeah,
Texas is doing pretty well in that regard.
Yeah, I bet they are. Now the next question is Georgia? They beat the team that beat Texas last year. Georgia winning the conference. Should they be the favorite going into this season? Seeing that they haven't won the national title the last 2 years, they did win the SEC. Now they lost now Carson Beck transferred to Miami. Gunnar Stockton's the quarterback. Should they be the favorite going into this season?
No, I'll say no. You want me to give it now, or are we gonna? You want me to save it?
You can give it now.
All right, it's Bama. I do like the Tide.
You like the Tide. You like the Tide.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll get to him in a second. With Georgia, I don't think Gunnar Stockton is like a top. I don't think he's going to be like an NFL kind of franchise starter. Maybe he's a backup, but like I see him more as a day 3 draft guy. I don't think he's got a ton of the tools to be that. I think the receiving core is gonna be a little bit better this year than it was last year. But the thing is, I don't see the high end talent. Like right now, I can't give you 5 or 6 guys that are going to be drafted this year from Georgia in the top 30, top 40. Like I don't think they have that high end talent this year. I think they're going to be favorite in like all their games, and the win total at Vegas is only 9.5. So like Vegas is even kind of usually that would be like 10.5. So even Vegas kind of doesn't love as much as maybe you would think. So I don't love it. And it's Georgia. Maybe their defense is going to be like it has the last couple of years under Kirby, where it's just elite and they're just, they're tough to score on. I'm not sure if it's going to be that elite level this year. Like, they're not, they just don't have the high end talent this year. So I don't love I don't love Georgia I like them. They'll probably be a playoff team, but I don't think they're the favorite to win this conference this year.
To me, I think it's going to be Texas. To me, it's going to be Texas. And I think because of Arch, and they're right there last year. Texas was right there. And I think the difference between Carson Beck and Stockton is going to be more than the difference between Arch and Quinn Ewers. So I think it's going to be Texas. I think Texas is going to be the favorite. Now, one more question, kind of an LSU question here. With Garrett Nussmeier being back, and Brian Kelly, you look at him. He's been good at LSU, but he hasn't been great. And you saw the success Notre Dame had last year has had without him getting to the national championship game. Is Brian Kelly on the hot seat now in year 4? If they don't get to the playoffs, is it over for Brian Kelly? Is he on the hot seat at LSU?
He's feeling it because he brought up the other day at SEC Media Days that he was talking about all the guys that they've graduated. He's talking about all the off the field stuff that they have accomplished. So he's starting to feel it a little bit, and I think so, because you look at it too, like the impact that Jaden Daniels had for Washington last year. They couldn't get more out of those LSU teams with him at the quarterback spot. I know their defense was atrocious, and that's the problem with too. You're in Louisiana. You can't put together. You can't have better defense on the field than
Miles was getting. Remember those LSU Alabama games with Les Miles is recruiting all those great defensive players on the field and Nick Saban? Yeah, like they were built on their defense. That's why they got to the national title game in 2011. It wasn't their offense. I know Odell Beckham it was great, but it was their defense.
Yeah, and hey, I'm glad you brought up Les Miles because the last 3 coaches there have either won a title in year 3 or year 4. Saban, Miles, and Ed Orgeron.
Yeah,
Kelly's at that point now.
And if Ed Orgeron can win a title, Brian Kelly should be able to get to the college football playoff.
Yeah, especially at LSU with the NIL thing. Now, you want to throw out a really, really. This is I don't know if you heard the rumors about Nick Saban wanting to return to coaching. I'm not saying it's gonna happen or not.
Yeah.
LSU goes 8-4. Does LSU call back Nick Saban for a couple of years? Could that?
That would be weird. That'd be weird after the way he left for the NFL. Yeah.
Yeah. So So I don't know what his buyout is, Brian Kelly. I assume it's a lot because I think he's got like $90 million left guaranteed on his contract, so it's probably an absurd amount of money. But if they go 8-4 again, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if LSU's sitting there. If they can pay out the buyout, wouldn't be shocked that they think they get somebody better, that they go with somebody. My pick right now would be John Summerall at Tulane. I think he's an unbelievable coach. What he's done at Tulane and what he's done at Troy, I'd probably go Somerville, but LSU probably want to go more big game hunting, but that would be my number one choice at the moment. But we'll find out a lot too. Week 1 at Clemson, and Brian Kelly, he's lost 4 or 5 straight week 1 openers. He always plays tough competition, but it would help too if he starts 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Clemson open the season, so yeah, because we've seen a lot of it. We saw last year the last couple of years against Florida State. Then they saw last year against USC, which was shocking. They lost that game.
Yeah, that was
now you got Clemson. Yeah, they got to start the season off right. They got to start the season off right against Clemson in late August, early September. But we'll wrap the show talking about Bradley Beal, and he is now the Suns bought him out, so he's now signed with the Clippers. And this move for me, I think it's really just a depth thing. I think it's a depth thing. It just adds depth for the Clippers. The Beal era in Phoenix was an absolute disaster. I mean, the whole thing in Phoenix was a complete disaster. But I think this is just really a move that just adds depth for the Clippers.
Yeah. I think it's a nice depth piece for him, but you're not paying him a lot of money. Maybe you get something out of him. He's probably only going to play about 40 regular season games. Maybe that's even he's been a guy that has not been able to stay healthy. It's been unfortunate because he could score the basketball. But yeah, for $6.5 million, $5.5 million they're paying him. It's not a bad option if he can come in and give you like 15 points a game or something like that.
Exactly. So we'll see what he does with the Clippers. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking more baseball with the Yankees and Red Sox. We will be talking about we'll give you any NFL news that comes our way, and we'll be talking about Big Ten Media Days. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group, and here at CMG we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men, and great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.